Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture session on management and economics. Myself Anil Kumar MM. I am working as assistant professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. In the previous session, we had discussed the importance of the management and one of the main functions of the management, that is planning. In the today's session, we are going to discuss the another two main functions of the management. Those main functions are, one is organizing and another one is the staffing. Okay. First, what is organizing? Organizing, it is simply it is referred as the systematic arrangement of an activity. We can call it as the organizing. Organizing, it is nothing but just we are arranging the activity systematically. The systematic arrangements of an activity, we can call it as organizing. Or it's also it is referred as, it is a process. Organizing, it is the process of arranging and allocating of the work, responsibilities and the human resources among the members present in the organization for achieving the goals or for achieving the objectives of an organization. That is called as organizing. It is also referred as, the organization is nothing but it is the relationship between the people and the work and then the human resources for achieving the objectives of an organization. Okay. The organization, that is the foundation of an organization. Okay. Organization, that is the foundation upon which the whole organization will be built. Okay. The whole enterprises will be built. Okay. The organization, that is the foundation. Without the efficient organization, the management can't perform the task smoothly or effectively. Okay. Next, move on to the staffing. What is staffing? Staffing is nothing but just allocating the human resource persons to perform the task for achieving the common objectives of an organization, that is called as staffing. Staffing is nothing but recruiting. Just we are allocating the human resources persons to perform the various tasks in an organization for achieving the objectives of that organization. You can call it as the staffing. Okay. Next, we will discuss what is the nature or the characteristics of organization. Okay. The few of the characteristics of the organization is, one is the organization, it is made up of group of people, and the organization, it aims to common goals and not personal goals, and organization have the both horizontal and the vertical relationship, and the organization establishes authority or the chain of command, and the organization, it is dynamics of organization. These are the characteristics of the organization. Let us discuss one by one. The first is, the organization is made up of group of people. When the organization is exist, when the group of people, they will work together for the common cause. Okay. If you are in a work for achieving the objectives of an organization, let us, the group of people, they can work together. Okay. They combine their effort for achieving the objectives of an organization. They are willing to work effectively and they are combining all their effort for achieving the goals of an organization. So the organization is made up of the group of people. Okay. They are group of people, they can work together and they have to combine their effort for achieving the goals of an organization. That is the first characteristics of the organization. The next characteristic is organization that will aims to go common goals and not personal goals. The goals of an organization is common. Okay. That will provide the combined effects of the members who are all present in that organization. Okay. The organization goals are, it is common. Okay. And the organization goals are always, that is separate from the personal goals of an employee employed in the organization. Okay. The organization goals are common, but the personal goals are different. Okay. That is, the organization goals are not personal, it is common to who are all members present in that organization. Okay. That is the second characteristics of the organization. Next, organization have both horizontal and vertical relationship. A good organization that will creates the cooperative relationship between the different departments and as well as the subordinates and then the superiors who are all present in that organization. Okay. So the organization have the both the horizontal and the vertical relationship that will maintain the cooperative relation between the different departments as well as the superiors as well as the subordinates who are all present in that organization. And also the organization functions like production department, marketing department, financial department and personal or human resource department. They can be integrated in order to achieve the common goals of an organization. And also the duties and the responsibilities of the superior and subordinated in the each divisions that can be incorporated and that can be combined together for the purpose of the joint effort, or can serve the purpose of the joint effort. So the organization have the both horizontal and the vertical relationship, and the organization it establish authority or chain of command. A good organization it establishes the authority. It will always the flow from the top level management to the lower level management, that will related to the hierarchy or the chain of command. It should be always flow from the hierarchy view, okay, that is from top level to the bottom level management, that means from manager level to the workers level. Okay, and dynamics of organization. Generally the organization it is primarily it is made up of the group of people that will be exist based on their emotions and sentiments and then behavior of the individuals and the group of people. Okay, these dynamic elements in the organization functions, it will be subjected to change according to the time to time. Okay. These are the 5 major characteristics of an organization. The organization that will be made of group of people for achieving the goals of an organization. Then the organization it always aims to the common goals, not for the personal goals. Okay, and means that the organization goals is always separate from the personal goals. And organization have both horizontal and vertical relationship. The organization which always cooperative relationship, that create the cooperative relationship between the different departments, superiors and then the subordinates, and it always establish the authority or chain of command. The organization it always flow from the authority is always flow from top to bottom or top level to bottom level or the according to the hierarchy. And then dynamics of organization, the behavior of the individuals and then the people that will be subjected to change according to the time. Okay, these are the major characteristics of the organization. Next we will move on to the importance or the purpose of organization. What is the purpose of organization? Okay, the several purpose of organizations are: one is it facilitates the administration and management, and it helps in the growth of enterprises, and it ensures the optimum use of human resources, and then it facilitates the coordination and direction. It stimulates the creativity, and a tool of organization is the tool of achieving the objectives, and it eliminates the overlapping and duplication of the work. These are the importance of the organization. Now let us discuss one by one. The organization it facilitates the administration and management. A good organization is the important and the only tool for achieving the objectives of an organization, that will be set by the administration and that will be explained by the management. Okay, organization that is one of the important and then the major tool for used to achieve the goals of an organization. That goals is set by the top level management or administrator, and that will be explained by the management. Okay, if the good organization, it will increases the efficiency of the work, and always it motivates the subordinates to work effectively, and it decreases the overlapping of the work, and the good organization will avoid the delaying of the work, and it increases the managerial efficiency, and it increases the promptness in their work, and also to motivate the workers, they can work effectively. Okay, this that is the first important importance of the organization. Next, the organization it helps in the growth of enterprises. The good organization it always helps to the growth of an organization, and growth and expansion and diversification of the enterprises. So good organization it always helps to the growth, expansion and diversification of the enterprises. Next, it ensures the optimum use of human resources. A good organization it establishes the persons with different interests and their skills and knowledge from their viewpoint. Okay, a good organization, there is always a efforts of just assigning the work and distribution of the work to the right person to the right job, and the effective utilization of the work from the workers. Next, importance is it facilitate coordination and direction. A good organization is the best way of maintaining the coordination between the different departments. Okay, and also it creates the line of authority the clear-cut authority and the clear direction that will give for achieving the objectives of an organization. So, the clear-cut authority and then the direction, it helps to greatly to achieve the goals of an organization. So, it always facilitate the coordination and then the direction, okay, that will create the coordination relation between the different departments and as well as the subordinates and then the supervisors. And it stimulates creativity. A good organization always support to the workers, they think creatively and then initiate to perform the new ideas and to initiate take up for performing the new task. Okay, this organization, it always creates an opportunity for the employees who are all present in the organization. Okay, so always created the stimulated environment in the organization. They can take up the new ideas and then they can take up the decision, and also it helps to think creatively in that organization. So this will be beneficial for the employers as well as the employees. And a tool of achieving objectives. An organization is the main tool of a hands of a management for achieving the goals of an organization. Okay, that is one of the importance of the organization. And the good organization eliminates and duplication of work. The overlapping and duplication of the work will exist when the distribution of the work is not clear. Okay, the distribution of the work is not clearly identified, and then they can perform the work in indisciplined manner. So a good organization, it will demands the work effectively, and it eliminates the duplication of the work and overlapping of the work that will be eliminated. Okay, these are the importance and the purpose of the organization. One is it facilitates administration and management. So that means the good organization that will increases the efficiency, and always it motivates the employees to work effectively, and it increases the managerial function, and it increases the promptness in the organization, and it also avoids the delaying of the work. Okay, these are all the importance of the organization. So that means it facilitates the administration and management. The objectives is set by the administration, and that will be explained by the management. It helps to growth of organization. The good organization always helps to the growth, and it will be expanded, and it also the diversification of the enterprises, and it ensures organization they can ensure they will work effectively for achieving the goals of an organization. And it facilitates coordination and direction. A good organization always to maintain the cordial relation, the cooperative relation between the different departments as well as the subordinates and the supervisors, and also gives the clear guidance to achieving the objectives of an organization. It stimulates creativity. Always it helps to give an opportunity to for the workers to creative thinking and take up the new ideas. Okay, and take initiatives for in their work area. Okay, and the organization is the main tool for achieving the objectives, and it eliminates the duplication of the work. A good organization, it eliminates the overlapping of the work and duplication of the work. Okay, these are the importance of the organization. Next, we will discuss the principles of organization. The success of any organization that will be ensured the principles of organization. To develop an efficient organization, we need to follow certain principles. Those principles are the principles of objective, principles of specialization, principle of span of control, principle of exception, scalar principle, principle of unity of command, principle of delegation, authority, responsibility, efficiency, simplicity and flexibility. Okay, these are the principles we have to follow for develop an efficient organization. Okay, let us discuss one by one. Principle of objective. The principle of objective, the objectives of an organization that will influence the organizational structure. Okay, how we have to define the objective. That's why the objectives of an organization that will be clearly defined for the entire enterprises. So the organization objectives that will influence the whole organization structure. Because of that, initially we have to clearly identify the objectives of an entire enterprise. Next principle is principle of specialization. Okay, the functions of an organization should be assigned to the people in the organization, okay, based on their specialization. Okay, whatever the functions of there, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling, these functions of the organization that will be assigned to the people based on their specialization. The specialization, it may be the qualification or education or the skills developed through the experience. Next, the principle of span of control. The span of control means a manager or directly supervise only the limited number of the subordinates. Okay, the manager directly supervise only the limited number of supervisors. Okay. Next, the principle of exception. The top managers are go through the only exceptional complex problems. The routine problems or decisions can be taken by the subordinates. The next principle is the scalar principle. Scalar principle is nothing but there is a chain of command. The authority, it is always flows from top to bottom. Means the authority of the organization that can be flow from top level to the lower level of management. That means everybody should know who is our superior and who is our boss and who is our subordinates. The principle of unity of command. The unity of command is nothing but each subordinate should have the one superior. Okay, each subordinate should have the one superior, and that they know whose order should be obeyed and who should be accountable and who is the responsible for the what. Okay. That means that is the unity of command. Principle of delegation. Delegation is nothing but the manager. The proper authority should be delegated to the lower level of management. They can work effectively in the organization. Okay, the proper authority should be delegated to the subordinates. They can work effectively. Means the lower level management, the authority should be delegated to the lower level management to work efficiently for the achieving the goals of an organization. Next, principle of responsibility. The manager will be the held responsible for the act of an subordinates. Okay, he is the held responsible. The manager will be the held responsible for the acts of an subordinates. No one can avoid the responsibility of authority in the organization. Next is the principle of authority. The superior always have the power to the subordinates, how they can work, and they can direct to the subordinates. Okay. Next, principle of efficiency. That means for achieving objectives of an organization goal with the whatever the resources available with the minimum cost in the organization. Principle of simplicity. The organization structure is always simple as possible. Okay, that means with the minimum levels will be formed in the organization. Okay, if the more number of levels is there in the organization, so the communication that leads to the communication problem. Okay. Next, principle of flexibility. Principle of flexibility is nothing but the organization structure is always flexible. Is there any changes that can be easily adopted in that organization? Okay, is there any replacement will be there, or is there any changes in that organization structure, or if there is changes, it does not damage the basic design of the organization. So the organization principle is always should be flexible. Okay, is there any changes that can be easily adopted, and is there any replacement for the employees in that work, so that can be easily adopted without damaging or without disturbing the basic design. Okay, these are the principles of the organization. For efficient function of an organization, we need to follow some of the principles. Those principles are objectives, specialization, span of control, exception principle, scalar principle, unity of command, delegation, responsibility, authority, efficiency, simplicity, and then the flexibility. Okay, these are the principles of the organization. Okay, next we will move on to the types of organization. All of you know organization is nothing but that is a systematic arrangement of an activities, we can call it as the organization. Just arranging and the allocating of the work, resources, responsibilities among the members in the organization for achieving the objectives of an organization, we can call it as the organizing. Okay, so next we will move on to the types of organization. The formation of an organization that is influenced based on the several factors. One is the size of an organization and the nature of the product being manufactured and the complexity of the problem being found in the business. Based on these factors, the organization structure is formed. Okay, the common types of organization structure is, one is the line or military organization and functional organization, line and staff organization, project, product or departmentation organization, matrix or grid organization. organization and committee organization. Okay, these are the common types of organization structure. Okay, now let us one by one. Okay, the first type of organization structure is line or military organization. What do you mean by line or military organization? The line organization or military organization, it is the simple and the oldest type of organization structure. Okay, the line organization, it is the simple and that is the oldest type of organization structure. This line organization structure, it represents the structure in a direct vertical relationship through the authority flows. In the line organization, the authority always flows from top to bottom. So the authority flows from direct vertically downwards from top level management to the bottom level management, nothing but from general manager level to the workers level. Okay, so the authority always flows from vertically downwards from top level management to the lower level management. In the line organization, okay, the subordinates are the general managers, it communicates its decision and orders to the subordinates, and these subordinates will be communicate its decision and orders who are immediately under them. Okay, so the general manager directly communicate with the financial manager or marketing manager or the production manager, and these managers is directly communicate who is under them. Okay, so in the line organization, it is also called as the military organization because it represents or it resembles the military setup. Okay, where there is a clear cut authority or hierarchy of the position. So hence it is line organization is also called as the military organization. So in the line or military organization, the authority flows from top level to the bottom level management. Okay, from flows from general manager to the production manager, or from production manager to the subordinates, so foreman and then the workers. So general manager is communicate its orders and decision to the financial manager, and this financial manager communicates to the assistant financial manager, accountant and then the clerk. Okay, the major advantages of line or military organization structure is it is simple and easy to understand. I already told that the line organization is a simple and the oldest type of organization, so this can be easily understand. Okay, and then we can take the quick decision because there is a less subordinates. Okay, so you can take the quick decision, and it is a unity of control. Unity of control is nothing but the one subordinates have only the one supervisor, so you can easily communicate. Okay, so the unity of control, that is one of the advantages of the line or military organization, and direct communication, it is possible in the line organization. The major disadvantage is the organization structure is rigid and there is a lack of specialization and overload of the work for the subordinates. Okay, and there is a lack of favorism. Okay, so there is a one-way communication, there is a lack of favorism is there in the line organization. Okay, these are the disadvantages of the organization. Okay, and this organization structure, it is suitable for only the small organization. Okay, next move on to the next type of organization, that is a functional organization. Okay, in the line organization, there is no specialists are present. So in that functional organization, the specialists are present. Okay, specialists are available in the functional organization. Under this functional organization, the organization structure may be classified into different groups. Okay, the organization, the group of activities in that organization can be classified into different functions or different departments like production department, marketing department, financial department and human resource department, and then the specialists are attached. Okay, the specialists are attached to the line manager. Okay, in that functional organization, these specialists will guide the line managers. Okay, these are the specialists that will be attached to the line manager, and these specialists will communicate or give the guidance to the line manager. Okay, and these specialist helps to the line manager to carry out their project to be better. Okay, this line manager will guide the divisional managers, and this manager will taking care and to carry out their project better. Okay, and these line managers don't have any power of command. Okay, but only it helps to direct the divisional managers. Okay, that is a functional organization. Okay, the major advantages of the functional organization is there is a scope for specialization because the specialists are available in the line manager. Okay, in between that there is a line managers our specialists are available, so there is scope for specialization, and there is a reduction the burden reduce the burden of the top executive because of the presence of the functional managers. So it reduces the burden for the top executives, and the quality of the work will be improves, and it offers greater scope for the expansion. Okay, the major disadvantages, this will violate the unity of command. Okay, because unity of command is nothing but there is the subordinates will obey only the one supervisor orders. Okay, so the dual communication will be avoided, but in the presence of the functional managers, so it will violate the unity of command, and there is a kills the initiative of the work and new ideas, and then there is a lack of coordination between the managers or line managers or subordinates. Okay, these are the disadvantages of the functional organization. Okay, next we'll move on to the next type of organization, that is line and staff organization. The line and staff organization, the benefits of the both line and functional organization, the new type of organization structure is formed, that is the line and staff organization. Okay, in the line and staff organization, the authority it is flows from vertically downwards as it does in the line organization. The authority flows from top level to the bottom level management. Okay, from board of director to the workers level. Okay, the authority it is flows from vertically downwards from top level management to the bottom level management. Okay, in between that the specialists are attached. Okay, here the specialists are attached. There is executive committee staff, the managing director, and control of the finance. The executive staff will be attached in between the line managers. Okay, this executive staff it will be helps to the line manager. Okay, this executive staff will helps to the line manager to carry a project better. Okay, so that is the line and staff organization. The major advantage of line and staff organization is it is flexible and the unity of command, and there is a less wastage of materials, and then the specialized knowledge will be available because of presence of the staff in between the line managers. And the disadvantages is it is expensive because we need to pay the both line and the staff members, and then it may not be effective, and then the conflict between the line and the staff executives, and then allocation of the duties is not clear in the line and staff organization. Okay, these are the different types of organizations. One is the line and military functional organization, and line and staff organization. The next type of organization structure is project or the product or departmentation organization. Okay, in the department organization, the larger organization structure having the different product lines or dealing with the different projects at the same time, altering their organization structure slightly for the efficient functioning of the organization. Or so the department is the number of activities in that organization can be divided into different groups. Okay, for effective functioning of the organization or enterprises. Okay, that department, that is called as the departmental organization. Okay, departmental organization is done by the varying factors, that is departmentation by the product, or departmentation by the territory, or departmentation by the projects. Okay, and the departmentation by the process. Okay, based on these factors the department will be divided into different groups. Okay, so for example, if you take the Maruti Suzuki company, the board of director, below that there is a managing director will be there, and that department can be divided into different groups. Like one is for the general manager. This managing director can be divided into two groups. One is general manager for small car division and general manager for the large car division. For example, less than 1000 cc can be divided for the one group, and then more than 1000 cc can be grouped in the another group. Okay, for example, for small cars like 800 or Zen or Alto, that will be coming into the small car division, and the Ciaz, Brezza, that will be come under the larger car division. Okay, so the departmental structure that can be divided into two groups. One is the small car division and then the larger car division. Okay, so in that small car division the separate product department and sales department and then account department will be provided. In the same manner in the larger car divisions also, that will be divided into the production department and the sales department and the account department. So the organization structure or activities that will be divided into different groups. Okay, for the betterment of the organization structure. So the major advantage of a department is there is increasing efficiency. Okay, because we are divided into two groups. there is a smaller car division and then the larger car division, so the efficiency will be increases and there clear budgeting is possible in the departmental organization, and this will be facilitate the specialization and the evaluation of the work will be easy. Okay, we can evaluate the work easily. So these are the advantages of the departmentation organization. And coming to the disadvantages, that duplication of the work is possible. Okay, and then the possible only for, and this type of organization structure is suitable only for the larger size of the organization, and the centralization of the few of the activities. Okay, these are the disadvantages of the departmental organization. Okay, next we will move on to the next type of organization structure, that is matrix or grid organization structure. Okay, this type of organization structure, it is recently developed. Okay, developed organization structure. In this this type of organization structure, it is the combination of the functional and departmental organization structure. Okay, it has both the benefits of the departmental and then the functional organization structure. In this type of organization structure, the activities can be divided into different groups because the firm is heading the different projects or different product lines. Okay, in that case they are using the matrix or grid organization structure. Okay, for example, research and development, the research and development department of engineering, that will be used the common resources and equipments and the staff in the organization. Okay, if the organization structure is heading different projects, this is the project 1, project 2, project 3 and project 4. Okay, in the one department is heading the different projects, but using the same resources and same staff and same equipments in that organization. In that cases, the matrix or grid organization structure is used. Okay, for example, the research and development department is using the different resources, equipments and staff in that organization. So these are the different project managers. There is a project manager A, B, C and D, and these project managers will share the resources into the different projects. This manager project A share the resources to the project 1, and this manager will share the resources to the project 2. So from this sharing of the resources, we can achieve or we can accomplish the objectives of that organization or complete the project. Okay, and this type of organization, the major advantages is it is a flexible and versatile type of organization, and it is oriented towards the end result. Okay, and the better professional identification is maintained. Okay, that is the advantages. Coming to the disadvantages, there is a authority conflict between the different project managers, and then there is no unity of command, and then the workload is not uniform. Okay, there is a work distribution is not uniform. These are the disadvantages of the matrix organization. Okay, next coming to the next type of organization structure, that is the committee organization. The committee is nothing but it is a group of people work together for achieving the defined objective, that is called as the committee. The committee means it is the smallest structure that is formed within the larger organization. Okay, committee is nothing but it is a small structure that is formed in the larger organization, that is called as committee organization. In the modern business world, the administrative task, it is not carried out by a single person. In that cases, we can call for 2 or more number of people to perform the task. Okay, this calls of you can call it as the committee. Okay, committee is nothing but it is the group of people that will be work together for achieving the defined objective, that is called as committee. This committee will will plan and to review the performance of the organization. Okay, the committee whatever you have formed, that will plans and reviews the performance of the organization, and also some exploratory and executive work will be assigned to the committee. Okay, some advisory work will be assigned to the committee people, and this committee will be classified into 3 types. One is advisory committee, executive committee, and then the standing committee. Advisory committee, just they are only the recommendation role. Okay, the advisory committee role is only therefore give for the recommendation. It is not enforced to implementation of their recommendation or their advice. Okay, only their recommendation role, that is a advisory committee. Example for the advisory committee, that is a work committee and then the finance committee. Next, coming to executive committee, it executes their decision. Okay, they will enforce the decision to execute. Okay, that is called as the executive committee. Example, that is a board of director. And standing committee, it involves just there will be solve the repetitive work. Okay, for example, for the standing committee, that is disciplinary committee. Okay, and coming to the advantages of committee organization, that is it covers the pooling of ideas, skills and knowledge of the group of people, and there is a coordination among the committee members, and then decision taken is unbiased. Okay, these are the advantages of the committee organization. Coming to the disadvantages, they will take the delay action. Okay, because the more number of people will be present in the committee, so the action taken will be delayed, and then difficult to maintain the secrets because the number of people will be working in that committee, so difficult to take the maintaining the secrets. Okay, and then there is expensive because of the number of people will be present in that committee, so we need to pay for them, so it is expensive. Okay, these are the different types of organization structure. Okay, one is the line and military organization, and then there is a functional organization structure, and line and staff organization, product, project or departmental organization, matrix or grid organization, and then the committee organization. Okay, these are the different types of organization structure. Thank you.